Hello everybody and welcome to the Murrah Music YouTube channel. In this video we're going to do some mixing with the tape machine. So one of my guitar students recorded an album and he wants my help with mixing it. Now he's a big Beatles fan, loves classic British rock and rockabilly and all that kind of stuff. So in keeping with that vintage vibe and influence, I started grabbing for a tape emulator plugin to put on the mix bus, and then I was thinking, wait a minute, I have a real tape machine. And that got me thinking, is there advantages or disadvantages to using just a tape emulator plugin or using a real tape machine? So I thought it would be a fun experiment here to kind of A/B the difference between those two and see what difference it makes. Okay, so I've got his project pulled up here in Cubase 7, and the first thing we need to do in order to use this real tape machine is worry about routing and hook up all the cables the right way and whatnot, so we can send stuff out of Cubase into the tape machine and back in, record it, and do all of that. Now a little while back I made a video covering how it's handy to have a wiring diagram on your computer of how everything is hooked up, specifically for situations like this where you can look back and see how everything's hooked up and know which wires go where and all of that. But just so you know, you should keep that file actually and not lose it. Okay, so in order to hook this up, I am using the RME Fireface interface, but really any of them should work as long as it has a series of line level outputs and inputs on the back. So I'm gonna go out of my extra line level outputs 3 and 4 over to the line in on the tape machine, go through the tape machine, record all that, and then go from the output back over left and right into my line level inputs 1 and 2. Now what I can do is go over to the control program that came with my interface, and I'm going to route the 1 and 2 out, or the software playback, from my DAW to that analog output 3 and 4. So that is on and up right there. So it'll go out to the tape machine, and then it'll come back from the tape machine into those hardware inputs. So inputs 1 and 2 right here, and I've gone ahead and panned those left and right and have those up as well. Okay, so this particular tape machine that I'm using here has 3 heads on it. So it has an erase head, a record head, and a play head, which means what I can do is change what I'm monitoring, either the source or the line input, or straight from the tape. So I'm going to put this on tape, and what that means is basically from my computer, the song is going to come in through the line input into the back of the machine. It's going to go over the tape, it's going to record that onto the tape, and then 1 inch later it's going to play that right back off of the tape and out the output and into my computer. This means I don't have to record the entire song and then rewind the tape and then play it back and record it back into the computer. I can do that, but essentially just with 1 little second delay instead of having to mess around with the tape too much. So you don't have to have this feature, but it is handy and it does make it a little bit easier. So we're going to make sure we set this to tape so we're actually getting back into the computer the signal from the tape and not just through the machine. And then we can adjust our line level inputs and outputs and all that stuff here, and we should be good to go. All right, so I have here the main project for the entire album. Now I've gone ahead and made stereo mix downs of each individual song, and I have those all laid out here in order to compose the entire album. So I'm kind of applying this tape effect at kind of the mastering stage for the whole album rather than on each individual mix down for the individual songs. So what I've gone ahead and done is routed out of all these channels out of the computer. That goes into the tape machine, gets recorded to the tape, and then comes back in and gets recorded on these 2 channels here. So I have the real tape, as in reel-to-reel tape, or the real, like it actually exists tape, on these 2 channels here. And then what I've gone and done is routed all of these same exact channels over to this group track here, which is my tape plugin track. So on that channel, I have here this Kramer MPX stereo tape plugin, which is going to serve as my kind of fake tape for this experiment. So I can A/B these 2 tracks between the real tape recording and this kind of fake tape recording. Now, one thing to note, this is more important for this kind of A/B test, because ultimately whatever sounds good works for you. But for the A/B test, what we want to avoid is having anything on the mix bus here. So if you had a plug in on the stereo out, then you would, in theory, send these mixes out to the tape deck through these plugins. And then when they got recorded back to this tape machine and you listened to these tracks, they would go through those plugins again. So we don't want to listen to kind of A-Bing these plugins once or twice. So I think what I'm going to do is just let this run, and I'm going to A-B for you. I think first off, the original mixes with and without the tape plugin, and then I'll A-B the tape plugin versus the real tape send.
Sitting here waiting, but I can't seem to take my time. And I don't know why, but you're so hard to come by. I wish you'd come to me. Sitting here thinking of all the things I'd say to you, but you won't see me. Your life's so carefree. I wish you'd tell me why. 'Cause even if you know I do, you have no clue. And though I'm trying to get through, you have no clue at all. No clue how much I really do like you. Been running around searching, my heart's been hurting for you, but you can't hear it beating. A smile will feel so fleeting, but how it makes me fly. 'Cause even if you know I do, you have no clue. No, I'm trying to get through. You have no clue at all. No clue how much I really do like you. Yeah. And I don't know why, but you're so hard to come by. Oh, please just come to me. 'Cause even if you know I do, you have no clue. And though I'm trying to get through, you have no clue at all. No clue how much I really do like you.
Well, let me know what you thought of the differences between hearing it through the tape plugin and the actual real tape machine. I will say, just from my own experience in putting this whole thing together, it's a lot easier to just throw a tape plugin on something and be done with it, as opposed to running it through a real tape machine, but it is pretty cool to do it the real way, right? But anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.